I am Charles VI, the King of France, known to some as Charles the Beloved, but to many as Charles the Mad. My reign began when I was but a boy of 11 years, thrust onto the throne in 1380 after the death of my father, Charles V, the Wise. Though my lineage carried the weight of greatness, my years were marred by turmoil, treachery, and the battle between lucidity and madness. In my youth, I was guided by uncles who acted as regents, men of ambition, power, and greed. Philip the Bold of Burgundy, Louis of Anjou, and John of Berry were more concerned with enriching their lands and securing their influence than tending to the fragile kingdom. The heavy taxes they imposed to fund their wars ignited the rage of the people, leading to uprisings like the Harelle and the Maillotins in Paris. When I came of age in 1388, I seized control of my kingdom, dismissing my uncles and appointing advisors known as the Marmousets, men loyal to my father's ideals. For a brief, shining moment, my France saw prosperity and order restored. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. In 1392, while leading an expedition against the Duke of Brittany, an event shattered my mind. A sudden outburst from a madman along the road and the blazing summer heat sent me into a frenzy. In my madness, I attacked my knights, and from that moment, my grip on reality would slip in and out like the tide. I would forget who I was, fail to recognize my wife, Queen Isabeau, or even my own children. These episodes of insanity left the realm in chaos. My brother Louis of Orleans and my uncle Philip the Bold vied for power, sowing division in the court. The rivalry between the houses of Orleans and Burgundy eventually erupted into civil war, tearing France apart. Amid this internal strife, the shadow of the 100 Years' War loomed large. The English, under the brilliant leadership of King Henry V, dealt us a crushing defeat at the Battle of Agincourt in 1415. Thousands of French knights lay dead, and my kingdom stood humiliated. My weakened state made me a pawn in the hands of my enemies. In 1420, my condition was exploited in the Treaty of Troyes. My daughter, Catherine, was married to Henry V, and he was named my heir, disinheriting my son, the Dauphin Charles. This betrayal was the ultimate humiliation, but in my fragile state, I was powerless to oppose it. I spent my final years shrouded in confusion and despair. My once proud France was fractured, its lands torn between English invaders and feuding noble factions. Yet, despite my failings, the embers of hope lingered. My son Charles would go on to challenge the English, and the flames of resistance would be rekindled by the Maid of Orleans, Joan of Arc. As I look back on my reign, I am haunted by what could have been. I was a king born into promise but undone by my mind's fragility and the treachery of those around me. My story is one of tragedy and caution, a reminder of the thin line between power and vulnerability, and the burden of the crown.